was still able to write the full song and play all the instruments for the track before Beyonce returned. Apparently, the only part that Beyonce did write was the bridge.
Child,
Beyonce was a teenage member of the R&B singing group Destiny's Child. Queen Bee, as she's known to her dedicated fans, the Beehive, has been on the rise. Having spent the majority of her career now as a solo entity, Beyonce has had the confidence to rely on herself creatively, going to win countless awards from Billboard Awards, AMAs, BET Awards, Grammys, and much, much more, making Beyonce the most awarded and one of the most nominated artists in Grammy history. With a massive net worth of well over $500 million, Beyonce has a catalog of 7 solo albums that have all gone on to be no less than platinum, even during the streaming era. But there is something else that Beyonce has earned that is much less favorable: a reputation for allegedly taking ideas and IP from other artists. Being considered to be one of the most influential pop stars alive, you wouldn't think that she was also the one being inspired by others to the extent of borrowing so extensively. Erykah Badu. Beyonce's R&B style has been more in the pop arena, and Erykah Badu's has been more in the neo-soul lane, but that hasn't stopped Beyonce from getting called out for taking some of her swag. Erykah Badu threw some shots at Beyonce by accusing Beyonce of copying Badu's signature tall headwear, which sort of looks like a rectangle witch hat made of mirrors. Erykah Badu took to her IG stories to post comparison pictures between herself and Beyonce's looks, with the caption, I guess I'm everyone's stylist. My favorite chrome mirror hat. Not long after, during a performance of Break My Soul, the Queen's remix, Beyonce skipped her usual lyrics of Badu, Lizzo, Kelly Rowe, and replaced them with Badu, 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 Badu. Some fans took it as a response to Badu's Instagram post. Whether it was supposed to be a salute or a diss is not quite clear, and some also felt like it was Beyonce canceling Lizzo, who had recently been sued for supposedly providing a hostile work environment for her dancers.
That is very fresh and very new. Okay, that literally happened, I believe, last year or sometime last year. So, I'm guessing he's going from more recent to not so recent. So when it comes to the Badu situation, this has to do with wardrobe, and it's a lot of artists and a lot of people that steal from other people when it comes to what they wear. And I wouldn't even call it really stealing, real. That's not really stealing. That's like that's more like inspiration.
The singer Khalees' 2003 single Milkshake became not just part of everyday slang, but also a reason to call out its producers, the Neptunes, as well as Beyonce for allegedly not getting Khalees permission to sample Milkshake on Beyonce's song Energy from her album Renaissance. Via Khalees' Bounty and Full business account on Instagram, she stated in a series of posts, "My mind is blown too because the level of disrespect and utter ignorance of all 3 parties involved is astounding. I hear about this the same way everyone else did. Nothing is ever as it seems. Some of the people in this business have no soul or integrity, and they have everyone fooled. I'm an artist. So I am, as Erykah Badu said, I'm sensitive about my stuff. The reality is that my real beef is not only with Beyonce, because at the end of the day she sampled a record. She's copied me before, so have many other artists. It's fine, I don't care about that. Really not about Beyonce. It's about hypocrisy and a lot of nonsense in the industry itself. I just heard the record everyone is saying has my sample, but it's beyond this song at this point. This was a trigger for me. Milkshake alone is one of the most licensed records of our generation. I am a creator, I'm an innovator. I have done more than left my mark on an era of music and style that will go down in history. But there are bullies and secrets and gangsters in this industry that smile and get away with it until someone says enough is enough. So I'm saying it today, I'm coming for what's mine, and I want reparations. Peace." When Beyonce edited the track to omit Khalees' work from it, this adjustment sent members of Beyonce's Beehive fan club into an uproar, as if Khalees didn't have the right to defend herself, but also because they felt that Khalees didn't even own the masters to the record. When one fan angrily asked Khalees if she was happy now that the change was made, Khalees pointed out the strange backlash by saying, "Yes, I am actually. LOL, nobody cried. I ain't never seen folks go so hard for someone that they never met or know personally. It's got cult written all over.
Khalees, she has every right to want compensation for something that clearly is hers. You get what I'm saying? That was her music. And I don't know who was responsible for the sampling or whatever. I don't know whose job was it to reach out to Khalees to make sure that it was all right for them to sample it. Sometimes artists get their team to do it, you know, hey, can you make sure, or the producer, because sometimes the producer samples a song already, they send it to the artist, and then the artist likes it, and they make a song out of it. It happens all the time. So I don't know if it was the producer's fault for not reaching out and maybe that, hey, can I sample this into my beat? I don't know. But at the end of the day, business is business. When it comes to people's songs and sampling, you have to make sure that you reach out to the person. You have to, because then stuff like this will happen. You can't get mad at Khalees because she wants to get compensated for her song that was sampled. Like, you really can't get mad at her for that. You know, she's just handling business. She's an artist. People can argue left and right that it doesn't matter. She should have handled it, you know, privately or whatever. But at the end of the day, I guess this is how she wanted to handle it. So it is what it is.
Lorella Cuccarini. Even artists from other countries have allegedly had their work taken by Beyonce.
Oh, damn.
When Beyonce performed her single, Run the World, Girls, at the 2011 Billboard Music Awards, she was getting rave reviews from her famous peers like Missy Elliott, who described Beyonce as a true entertainer. The singer Omarion states that he was left speechless, and pop star Pink tweeted, Beyonce just killed it at the Billboard Awards. So original, so rad. But it didn't take long for what goes around to come around when videos started spreading on the internet showing Beyonce's performance side by side with a 2010 performance by Italian pop singer-dancer Lorella Cuccarini. The similarities included both singers using a white screen with a choreographed routine and visual effects such as digitally generated backup dancers, shapes, and colors, even though there were fans that came to Beyonce's defense stating that maybe she was paying homage to Lorella Cuccarini, and most likely got Lorella's permission first. The answer to that theory is no, Beyonce didn't have permission to duplicate the routine. Beyonce responded to the criticism by saying, my makeup artist showed me the performance of Lorella Cuccarini a year ago, and it inspired me so much. I then met with the talented people who worked on it. The technology and concept were so genius. Thank God for YouTube, or I would have never been exposed to something so inspiring. I never worked so hard on anything in my life as that performance for the Billboard Awards. Unfortunately, there's no way of knowing if Beyonce would have ever publicly admitted to reusing Lorella Cuccarini's concept if she hadn't first been caught. Terrence T. Rob Robinson. Beyonce's reputation for, quote, song stealing even extends to her Destiny's Child days. Miami-based producer Terrence T. Rob Robinson filed a $200 million lawsuit against the girl group Destiny's Child for allegedly stealing his song Glorious. After producing Glorious, he provided it to Matthew Knowles, Beyonce's father and manager. Later that year in October,
come on with the ads!
In an effort to kickstart his career. But what ended up happening instead was Matthew Knowles disappeared with the song, and months later, Destiny's Child had apparently transformed T-Rob's song Glorious into the Destiny's Child song Survivor without Terrence's name or credit, who stated how his career would have been different if he had been properly credited. I know right now I would be one of the biggest, most sought-after producers. But the other side of the story is that Matthew Knowles claimed that not only had 3 different people claim to either have written or produced the song Survivor, but that he hadn't met nor heard of T-Rob until he informed the producer that his management company, Music World Entertainment, had nothing to do with Robinson's song Glorious. Matthew Knowles said Destiny's Child wrote the lyrics themselves and left production of the track to be handled by State of Mind music producer Anthony Dent. Survivor was not just a number 2 hit in 2001 that earned Beyonce's group Destiny's Child a Grammy in 2002 for Best R&B Performance, but it was also the title of Destiny's Child 2001 album, which sold 6 million copies. It doesn't seem like anything really came out of this lawsuit, therefore either Destiny's Child either settled with T-Rob out of court, or the entire lawsuit was just thrown out.
So basically, we will not know if that story is true or not. When he said that he met with Matthew, he gave him the song, and then a couple of years later or whatever, Destiny's Child was singing it. I guess we will never know it was true.
Desiree. The song ballad called Still in Love, Kissin' You by Beyonce was included on the 2007 deluxe version of her second studio album, Birthday, of which it said that Beyoncé contributed to the writing and production of. This claim was kinda odd considering that it was a cover of a song called Kissin' You by British singer Des'ree. There was also a music video filmed on Super 8 in Miami for Still in Love, Kissin' You that was shot and directed by Cliff Watts, who was the one behind the camera of Beyoncé's Sports Illustrated magazine cover. The music video was included on the Birthday Anthology video album, and all seemed to be well until the royalty network, the publishers for Des'ree, filed a lawsuit against Sony BMG Sales Enterprise, Beyoncé, B-Day Publishing, and EMI, making the claim that Beyoncé's cover of Des'ree's song infringed on copyright conditions. It was back in February 13, 2007 that Beyoncé's representative sought out permission to use interpolations of Kissin' You, to which the royalty network offered Beyoncé the use of the song under very specific conditions. Two of the conditions of the proposal were that the song's title remained the same, and that the song was not to be published in video form. Beyoncé broke both of those terms for use and made no further contact with the royalty network. This fractured promise led the royalty network publishing company to request that Sony Music Entertainment, which was the parent company of Columbia Records, put an immediate halt on distribution of the B-Day album that contained this retitled version of Des'ree's song. But the album was still released on April 3, 2007, which the royalty network viewed as willful disregard and removed Beyoncé's permission to use the song. The lawsuit, filed on April 16, 2007 in the District Court for the Southern District of New York, was in pursuit of $150,000 in damages and a recall of the infringing material, which led to Sony Music Entertainment putting a stop to the distribution of both the deluxe edition of B-Day and the anthology video album on that day. But these editions had already sold over 214,000 units. There would later be reissues of these albums without Still in Love and its video. There was a replacement track called If to take its place on the B-Day Deluxe edition. The case was dismissed with prejudice on October 12, 2007, with all parties involved in agreement. Beyoncé's father and manager went on to explain that Beyoncé was unaware of the copyright issues before any legal action was ever taken. Rich Harrison. Crazy in Love became one of the biggest pop hits of the 2000s, and Beyoncé promoted the song as being a collaboration between herself and producer Rich Harrison. She explained the origin of Crazy in Love by saying, "The song came from me actually looking crazy one day in the studio, and I said, I'm looking crazy right now. And Rich Harrison, the producer, was like, that's the song." Which, strangely enough, this is not how the producer Rich Harrison remembers the creative process going down, leading to yet another artist who has accused Beyoncé of theft. According to Harrison, he first played a sample of the track for Beyoncé, who told him that she not only loved the idea, but she insisted that he write the song and that she would return in 2 hours. So if this is actually what happened, that means that Beyoncé didn't write the song, and she wasn't even there to contribute to it being written. Even while Rich Harrison struggled with a hangover, he was still able to write the full song and play all the instruments for the track before Beyoncé returned. Apparently, the only part that Beyoncé did write was the bridge.
Child,
Marilyn Ortiz. The number of contributors on Beyoncé's Lemonade album amounts to over 40 individuals. In fact, one song on the album called Hold Up actually has 17 credits. But one person who felt disrespected is choreographer Marilyn Ortiz, who gained acclaim for performing in shows with the theatrical dance group Fuerza Bruta. Ortiz took to Instagram to air out her grievances with Beyoncé for allegedly stealing dance moves for Beyoncé's Formation World Tour associated with the album Lemonade from Marilyn Ortiz's group De La Guarda. "I'm sorry I don't bash artists, but I respect fellow creative artists and don't like to use social media to promote something that can be perceived as negativity. But at Beyoncé, you have the nerve to steal exact concepts and choreography from other real creative geniuses. You stole from Breaking Surface. You stole the stomping from De La Guarda. It's okay to be inspired, but at least make the effort to make it your own. Also, at Crazy Horse Paris, the saddle scene. Let's keep it real, people. Hide your ideas," a bunch of other hashtags, and props to my friends that did the aerial. The likelihood of Beyoncé's choreography team snatching dance moves from Fuerza Bruta videos or performances increased as a story came out on Page 6 in December of 2009 that reported, "Beyoncé took the interactive vibes of Fuerza Bruta Look Up to heart Saturday night, trying to learn the choreography during the high-energy dance spectacles Murga section where dancers stomp on large platforms." At around the 5-minute mark in the video from 2009, it becomes apparent that the dance move that Marilyn Ortiz accused Beyoncé of copying for her tour choreography is practically identical.
Well, damn, I would like to see it. I would like to see which one. Like, you just can't say, oh, yeah, it's identical, and don't show me an example of it. I want to see everything.
Wilhelmina, the modeling agency. Beyonce has not only been accused of stealing from other artists, but she even faced a lawsuit from the modeling agency that arranged endorsement deals on her behalf and didn't receive their fair share. Wilhelmina Artists, a division of the Wilhelmina Modeling Agency that represents music and models, filed suit in Manhattan Supreme Court against Beyonce over her contract with cosmetics company L'Oreal that earned Beyonce approximately $1 million, with Wilhelmina never receiving their 10% commission fee. The suit also stated that Beyonce refused to pay future commissions from the 2 years remaining on the L'Oreal deal at the time as well. But on June 8, 2005, a New York judge ordered singer Beyonce to pay the modeling agency $1 million for getting her a job with L'Oreal when she was hired to be the face of the cosmetics company in 2001. The Swiss artist Pippolotti Rist has been a pioneer in the video medium since the 80s, with her trademark style incorporating plenty of attention to detail through bright, saturated colors and close.
I love the small.
Oh my God!
Pippolotti's art installations are designed to activate all five senses, and her videos have special soundtracks to match her zoomed-in visuals to create somewhat of a hypnotic effect to soothe and stimulate audiences. Pippolotti's name popped up in pop culture when a music video for Hold Up, a song that became popular for including details about Beyoncé's husband Jay-Z allegedly cheating on her from Beyoncé's album Lemonade, appeared to have been plagiarized. The music video shows Beyonce walking down the street of what appears to be New Orleans, wearing a dress and smashing cars with a baseball bat. The more her anger builds up, the more we see explosions going off behind her. But anyone who assumed this was an original idea may have gotten their hopes up too high when Beyonce was accused of stealing the visuals from Pippolotti Rist's video project Ever Is Overall from 1997. Ever Is Overall also shows Rist walking down the street in a dress and smashing cars, but instead of a bat, she uses an oversized flower. Even the general angle of Rist and Beyonce's videos are fairly identical.
At this point, somebody on Beyonce's team or Beyonce herself needs to make sure, because how big she is, she got to be on her team and be like, listen, I need you to reach out. I've seen this. I'm going to need you to find this person. Okay? Please find this person and tell them, can we use this as inspiration? Make sure you got all the receipts of you reaching out. Make sure you do this. Make sure she got to be on her team more when it comes to her inspirations, because how big she is, people are going to make sure they come after her if she takes anything, especially something that's very, is noticeable. They're going to make sure that they get her for it.
Greg Walker, the fashion CEO. After being accused of taking credit, intellectual property, ideas, and even money from producers, songwriters, singers, dancers, choreographers, video artists, and modeling agencies, Beyonce managed to have legal problems with the fashion industry as well. Beyonce and her mother, Tina Knowles, were sued for $1.5 million by Wear Me Apparel Corp., the company Beyonce was collaborating with for her own clothing line. The lawsuit was filed in New York State Supreme Court by Greg Walker, the CEO of Icon Entertainment, claiming he wasn't fully paid for securing the $15 million deal between Beyonce and Wear Me Apparel. Greg Walker stated that Beyonce and her mother, who designed the Street collection, hired him in August 2003 to assist them with landing endorsement and licensing deals. Walker made that happen and secured a $15 million deal for Beyonce and her mother to establish the clothing line with the clothing manufacturer Wear Me Apparel. At the time of his lawsuit, Greg Walker alleged that out of the $1 million that he was owed, he had only been paid $25,000 from Knowles' mother Tina, with Walker stating, "Beyonce and Tina Knowles agreed on the terms of our business relationship, but have failed to properly compensate me for reasons unknown to me. I just want to receive my fair share and move on with my business." Unfortunately for Greg Walker, it appears that he had only made an oral agreement, which led to the Manhattan Supreme Court Justice to find that Walker never had a valid contract with Beyonce and her mother Tina. Walker had accused Beyonce of failing to pay him a penny after receiving $25,000 for his services, but he didn't let that court decision put an end to his dispute. Walker was reported as saying, "I'll never give up because I know I'm right. The judge was starstruck. I believe if I was white, I would have been paid."
Hello? Sir, you have to have a contract. You have to. Let's just be realistic here, okay? Because of people lie every day, B, okay? People lie every day. So you just say having an oral contract with somebody and it just happened between you two without no paperwork involved. You cannot say, well, I'm not going to give up because I know it was true and the judge was just starstruck. No, the judge was doing his job because you didn't have any contract or paperwork to prove your statement. You could be saying anything. You get what I'm saying? So if it did happen allegedly, if it did happen, make sure you have paperwork on it. That was your fault, sir, that you didn't get on paperwork that was supposed to happen when it comes to your money.
Jennifer Armour. When Beyonce released her Grammy-winning album Dangerously in Love in 2003, the second single was called Baby Boy, featuring Jamaican dancehall artist Sean Paul, who was already crossing over to mainstream in the US at the time. But the platinum hit also had something else, the accusation that it had been taken from an up-and-coming singer and songwriter from Shakopee, Minnesota named Jennifer Armour. This accusation was pursued by Jennifer in 2005 when she filed a copyright infringement lawsuit claiming that Beyonce not only took some of her lyrics, but also snatched up the musical hook from Armour's song, Got a Little Bit of Love for You. Being that Jennifer Armour wasn't established in the music industry yet, and this was before social media was a vehicle for independent artists to promote their music, how did Beyonce find out about Jennifer's song, Got a Little Bit of Love for You? The timeline begins with Jennifer Armour composing the song Got a Little Bit of Love for You in early January 2003 as a means of advancing her career. Then, on February 12, 2003, Armour registered a copyright of an a cappella version of the song, but the copyright for the instrumental version of the song didn't happen until May 1, 2006. Meanwhile, between January and March 2003, Armour's manager, Mark McKinney, was sending out copies of Jennifer's music to various people in the music industry that he thought were connected to Beyoncé Knowles, including her label Columbia Records and Sean Paul's label Atlantic, but he never heard anything back and the tapes were never returned to him either. About a month after Jennifer Armour recorded her song, Beyoncé entered a recording studio and began working on her new album, which would be Dangerously in Love, with collaborators Scott Storch and Robert Waller. Beyoncé commercially released Baby Boy on June 24, 2003, and Jennifer Armour claimed to have heard Beyoncé perform Baby Boy at a concert, and was surprised by the similarities she heard to her own music. On July 11, 2005, Armour filed a suit for copyright infringement against Beyoncé, Robert Waller, Scott Storch, Sean Paul, their record labels, and all parties involved with the song. According to the district court, an expert witness determined the songs to be substantially similar, which is a requirement for an infringement finding, with the expert witness stating, "When the oral comparisons of the two songs are presented in the key of C minor and presented back-to-back in ABAB fashion, even the least musically inclined listener should immediately determine that the two songs are strikingly similar. I dare say that many listeners may even perceive them as being the same song. And again, transposing a song for this purpose does not alter any fundamental qualities or characteristics of the song, but merely assists the ability of those unfamiliar with the technicalities of music in making a comparison." The district court judge nonetheless ruled that she couldn't hear the similarities between the two songs and dismissed the case, denying the motion for the songs or case to be heard by a jury. On appeal, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit affirmed the district court's ruling, but it held that there was no infringement based on Beyoncé claiming that Jennifer Armour's demo tape was received shortly after the writing of Beyoncé's song had been substantially completed. However, the court did not address the issue of substantial similarity. Beyoncé did not show up for a hearing, and the lawsuit was ultimately thrown out because the lyrics to Baby Boy were deemed substantially dissimilar to Jennifer Armour's Got a Little Bit of Love for You. Anne-Therese de Kersmacher is a Belgian choreographer known for putting experimental ballets together. But what does she have to do with Beyoncé? According to Anna, Beyoncé plagiarized a few of her ballets, Achterland and Rosas danced Rosas. You can see the similarities yourself when you take a moment to watch Beyoncé's music video for Countdown, directed by Adria Petty, and then compare it to Thierry Demay's 1997 film Rosas danced Rosas, named after Anne's company. Once Beyoncé's music video for Countdown was on the radar, the choreographer's response was that she had seen school kids in her local area perform her work, stating, "I'm not mad, but this is plagiarism. This is stealing." Adria Petty, the director for the Beyoncé song in question, said, "I brought Beyoncé a number of references and we picked some out together. Most were German modern dance references, believe it or not," she told MTV, potentially assuming that she was referencing the work of the late Pina Bausch. The Countdown video has a mixture of pop culture references from the 60s and 70s, such as Beyoncé portraying Audrey Hepburn in the movie Funny Face, Monica Vitti in Modesty Blaze and Jennifer Beals in Flashdance, and Diana Ross when she was a member of the singing group The Supremes. Adria Petty believed that any form of art that has ever been released is up for grabs to be reincorporated into newer work. But this doesn't change the fact and the way that Anne feels about being used, with her stating, "Protocols and consequences to such actions, and I can't imagine that Beyonce and her team are not aware of it." BC Jean. The song that singer BC Jean is most known for was inspired by her love of pizza and wishing that she was a boy because of her belief that men don't have to worry about their diets and staying slim as much as that pressure is placed on women. BC Jean explained herself to the Los Angeles Times by saying, "I was riding with Toby and I wanted a piece of pizza. I was trying to be good with my diet and I said, I wish I were a boy. He always recorded everything I said with a little tape recorder and he said, 'What did you just say?' And he put it in my face. I said, 'Stop, Toby, I just said I'm hungry. I want that pizza in Times Square.' And then he went, 'What else would you do if you were a boy?' I said, 'I'd be a better man than my ex-boyfriend.'" BC Jean and Toby went on to write a folk song about gender double standards together called If I Were a Boy. But this version differs quite a bit from the pop hit that emerged. When BC Jean initially struggled to gain a record deal, Toby took the song to Beyonce, which hadn't worked out well for others, and Toby was no different. Then eventually BC Jean was shocked to find out that If I Were a Boy was included on Beyonce's album I Am Sasha Fierce, and responded by saying, "I've been reading some of the comments, and to set the record straight from the horse's mouth, If I Were a Boy is my song. Yes, I wrote the song. It is my story, a painful one, and the song is very dear to me. You can hear the original version on my MySpace site." Eventually, BC Jean was able to make a deal with Beyonce in which BC Jean put out her debut album, she would be able to secure a Beyonce feature. But the sad truth is that neither the debut album or the Beyonce feature ever came to fruition.
Goddamn. This is all I gotta say. This is all I gotta say when it comes to this situation here. Beyonce's team, and Beyonce has to make sure her team, itself, they need to make sure, because clearly in some of these situations, or they send her things that might be inspirational to what they're doing at that moment, and then they go off of that. My thing is, her team or whoever is being like, "Hey, look at this." You get what I'm saying? They need to make sure that they have permission to do so. They need to make sure that they have permission to, use that stuff. And I think mostly some of these people just wanted to be aware and just wanted them to acknowledge that, hey, I'm about to use this. Will I be able to use this? So that they can make, an agreement or whatever they need to do. So I would just say it's basically more so in some of these situations, her team fault for not going to them and saying, "Hey, listen, I showed this to Beyonce. She likes it. Can we use it for X, Y, and Z?" And Beyonce, she needs to make sure that if her team gives her something or let her see something of somebody else's, she needs to be like, "Okay, I want to use that. Please make sure you get permission to use this." You get what I'm saying? Because after all of these incidents of these lawsuits and people coming out and saying something, she need to be like, "Listen, I don't want to go through this anymore." Like, I don't want nobody coming out saying that I stole this or this is familiar to this. Just make sure you get permission, even if it's just the littlest thing. She has to make sure, "Hey, listen, I'm gonna need y'all to get in contact with whoever this is, and make sure we get permission to do so." But anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for coming through. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. Also, make sure you let me know what you think of this video. Leave your comments down below. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace. Kinetics with the fucking plug.